What's up, YouTube? It's your boy VE to the double LE. It's been a while. Welcome to Vale GG. So last time I talked to you guys, I was in school real deep, and it was Christmas time, so it wasn't a whole lot of events, and so I hadn't done much play or much upload. But I'm back today with my first place deck from my locals the other day, and I know you guys are used to seeing Gokis and Orcus and Shaddolls, but it's something different today. Today we have, right next to the old guy, madolche. 60 cards. And I'm going to break it down because my list is very different, and I'm going to give you why this deck was so successful. Quick rundown. My first round was against Dino. We went 2-1 there. Then round 2 was against... Drytron? I think it was Drytron. I think it was Drytron. 2 or 3 was against Drytron, and round 4 was against Live Twin Unchained. So I went undefeated, and I'm going to show you guys why. So first thing first, we're going to get into the madolche cards. 3 Mangeline to search what most people think is the best card. Pudding Sessor. It's just a 1-card combo. And jellies. And then what's really the best card, in my opinion, 3 Hoot Cakes. I've seen a lot of videos online cut this. Cut it down to like 1. But based on the format, the most appropriate way to play madolche is through this card. Even with Pudding Sessor, you still have to summon Hoot Cake at some point to extend your combo longer. So he's actually the card you play through, and without him, your deck doesn't really do a whole lot. Another card that's vital is 2 Pudding Sis. For all your XYZ plays. She also has some pretty neat interactions where you can like pop cards and do things like that. I played 1 Mufuli. Again, I'm playing through Hoot Cake. But this is also like if you have monsters in the graveyard and you have a Pudding Sessor in hand, you can normal summon this, special summon the Pudding Sessor, trigger the Pudding Sessor's effect. And then this basically just becomes link material for your link monster. And then you have 2 Messengelato. The rest of the madolche cards, 2 Chateau, 2 tickets, because I think playing 1 and 1 is dumb. You need your double summon card. It's the best. And then you need your Omni Negate, which helps you deal with like Red Eyes Fusion and cards like that. Also Floodgates that you can't deal with, which is almost known. Now here's why the deck is so successful. Most of the rest of my monster count is just hand traps. So we got 2 Bells, 2 Ash, 2 Meister, 2 Nib, 3 Droll, and 2 Herald of Orange Light. So, I didn't really get to flex Herald much because 1 or 2 hand traps is usually enough to stun my opponent out. But Pudding Sessor, Pudding Sess, they're fairies, and because of the way the deck functions, they just go back to hand. Even if you already open with the full combo, if you normal summon Mangeline and search the Pudding Sessor, you can still go and use this for negate. To be honest, you could probably just cut these for Gammas. I just like it. And now, the spells. So we did play the X-Draft. This build is not a budget build, guys. I'm sorry. I thought this was the most efficient way to play the deck. So 3 X-Draft and 2 Desires. The reason why is you just need to get to 1 of these cards to full combo. As long as you don't banish like all of like your Xyz. The first time you resolve this, you resolve it for 6. The second time, you resolve it for 3. Just so you have enough stuff in your extra deck to kind of go off. And these 2 don't really clash, like just depending on what your hand is. But normally, it's pretty optimal. Then you don't want to lose to like bad decks, so you want to play Droplets for more interruption. I played 1 copy of Double Summon. Sometimes you don't open with the Salon and Double Summon. This actually won me a couple games. So it was pretty easy to do. And then we played 2 Hatrunades and a Duster, which just beats Eldlik decks because Conquistador and things they have to activate. It also beats like the weird Trap Shaddol decks and stuff like that. if you, from the looks of the deck, you would think that this deck is blind second and wouldn't play traps, but another reason why we won is because of the traps. 3 Imperm, which people are cutting a lot of. Sometimes you just have to know where to Imperm. Against Zoo, which is a deck that doesn't really give you a whole lot of trouble. You don't have to worry about it. And then Virtual World, things like that. We don't really worry about a whole lot because there's so many hand traps. If they manage to play through 4 or 5 hand traps plus a combo starter, then you just lose anyway. 3 strikes, 2 torrential, and 2 ice dragons. And that's it for the main deck. So, like I said, I went undefeated. The only thing I would change, I'd probably drop the Herald of Orange Lights and put Gammas in the main. I don't think there's a whole lot of other traps, maybe Compulse. But extra deck-wise, we pretty much play 3 of everything because of extra. So, 3 Queen, 3... This card is actually super vital because most decks play through the graveyard. So, like, if Drytrons use Nova and then summon the Alpha, 9 times out of 10, that means they don't have the Ben 10 or they're looking for a specific piece of their combo that they don't have access to. So as soon as they link it off, make sure you put it in the correct zone or you'll lose, even though she doesn't inherently lose to any of those cards. So you can just shuffle them back. Same thing against Dino. We just got to shuffle back stuff. And it adds for an extra interruption. This is just your OTK. Easy. Shuffle back your opponent's field. Put your resources back. GG. You make Sis start because she's just Madolche Colossus. Then you got 2 Dweller. One's an extra F target, but a lot of times you can make it if you're forced to go first. Even though we play a lot of traps, we go second. And then 1 Zeus. I think I've summoned this once against Drytron, and it kind of helped me out. Helped me grind through the game. Side deck is more hand traps. So the Gamma package, which could go in the main, like I said, if you just don't like the Herald. I think the Herald lets you play in your combo a little better, where you don't have to like not have anything, because you have a chance to Herald like Nibiru, stuff like that. It was also 3 Lancia, which is another argument, I guess, for keeping the Herald. If you side into Lancia, Herald can use Lancia as, if you open up Herald and Lancia, and you're playing against a deck that just you have to negate the monster effect, and you can use the Herald to get rid of the Lancia and not your combo piece. So there's that. 2 Sister Lilies against Drytron decks, stuff like that. Decks that like the combo, Virtual World, Drytron, even Phantom Knights to some extent. They just play monsters, and Yu-Gi-Oh players are greedy, so they figure that if they play through this, if they can play through this and set up their board, you're going to lose anyway. But that's not true. Most decks are really on a time clock, and they have to kill you within a certain amount of time. If you do the math, there's no way that Drytron can kill you the very next turn if they take the full challenge and combo off. So what you could do is force them to play through and just summon their vanities early without going into too much extra stuff, which allows them some follow-up. But if you have an answer, then they just pretty much lose the game. Another one that could probably go to the main that was kind of MVP in certain situations was D-Shifter. Just 2. I think 3 is too many, and I see it at 2 for some reason. So 2 D-Shifters basically, they basically end Drytron turns. They end Virtual World turns. They end Phantom Knight turns. They end Eldlik turns completely. They don't really go as far into their combo as they want to. Even to some extent, the Zoo packet, because if you do this and then activate Imperm, they don't want to detach the Ram or the material from Ram. So a lot of times, this does hurt playing through Hoot Cake, so it then changes your engine to where you can play through Petting Cessor turn 1 rather than Hoot Cake. But even if you have Hoot Cake in this is still crazy good combo because you ditch this, it's in the graveyard, so it's a target for Hoot Cake. Hoot Cake banishes, you can still combo off through Petting Cessor without having to do much, just for simple OTKs and things like that. So Shifter is really solid. For the bad trap decks, you play 1 Reboot, 2 Judgment. You never really want to slide these in going second. I just needed 2 more cards. But a card that's really good is There Can Only Be One. Madolches has so many different types that I can swarm a field, hit you with There Can Only Be One, and that pretty much freezes the game for your opponent. Against Drytrons do have a way to out There Can Only Be One, but they have to specifically have a way where they can go into Link Karibo or whatever, then summon the monster, summon back a Drytron. They have to go through like 4 or 5 cards. So if they don't already have Ben 10, but you have this backed by hand traps, they just don't win. So the deck is super solid. There's a lot, like I said, guys, there's a lot you can do. I think this format, that the formula isn't being able to play forever, but being able to play for just long enough. The thing about madolche that made it the choice for at least this week for me, because I'm trying out different stuff to get ready for some events that are coming up, and you guys will get the highlights of that. But the thing that made me consider them is the fact that I can play so many hand traps, stun my opponent, and then most of my deck is just 1-card starters. So you can really apply the same formula to any deck that has a bunch of 1-card starters and play through there. And I'll say 1-card starters that aren't reliant on other pieces, right? So you would think that Drytron's consistency gives it the ability to play through all of this, but Drytrons have some very specific choke points to where if you have hand traps that can stop them, they essentially end their turn, which is why you just main Droll, because if they have to burn Herald on Droll, you have other responses, and then their deck's automatically weaker because they'll lose the card they pay for cost for the Drytron. They'll summon the Drytron to hopefully get an advantage, but if you Droll and they have to Herald, they then got rid of their cards, 2 more of their cards. So their inboard won't be as strong, and then their follow-up won't be as strong. And with madolches, there's no follow-up. If I can combo, you're just dead. I think I got through Nibiru. I got Nibiru, I think, once or twice. A couple of hand traps, like Ash, is not really enough. But even if you do decide to Ash early, I see a lot of people Ash Petting Cessor, which is fine because we just make Dweller. If we make Dweller after we normal summon and then play through our Hoot Cake, you just get game from there because all your opponent did is stop you from being locked into madolches. And the only card that locks you into madolches is Petting Cessor. So the deck is super solid. Try it out. Try it out, guys. I got a lot more content coming your way. I'm trying to set up a Twitch channel. I've had some difficulties, but we're going to have, because I really want to do some big things on this channel now that I have a little more free time, now that school is done, and I got my degree, and so I want to thank everybody for their support in that. But this is your boy, VE to the double LE. Also, shout out to Richard. Hi, Father. It's your boy, VE to the double LE, signing out.